dive into a very important topic, the preamble. Okay, let us look into the text of the preamble. It says, we, the people of India, having solemnly resolved to constitute India into a sovereign socialist secular democratic republic and to secure all its citizens justice, socio-economic, political liberty of thought expression, belief, faith and worship, equality of status and opportunity, and to promote among them all fraternity, assuring the dignity of individual and unity and integrity of the nation. In our Constituent Assembly, this 26th day of November 1949, do hereby adopt, enact, and give to ourselves this Constitution. Okay, our preamble has good choice of words. That is why our preamble is a finely drafted document. Okay, our preamble is a finely drafted document, and preamble is also called introduction to the Constitution, summary of the Constitution, Constitution in a nutshell, quintessence of the Constitution, horoscope of sovereign democratic republic. All these names are other names of preamble only. Okay, this is not the original preamble. This the original one was amended actually. It was amended by 42nd Constitutional Amendment Act 1976. Okay, 1976, and it has added 3 keywords. What are they? It is socialist, integrity, and secularism. Okay, socialist, integrity, secular. These 3 words were added by 42nd Constitutional Amendment Act 1976, introduced by Sardar Swaran Singh Committee. Okay, now you already know what information does our preamble give. Now let us discuss this. One information I can find is that it tells about the ideals of our nation. That is, our ideals are sovereign socialist, secular democratic republic. These are our ideals. So using these ideals, we need to reach our goals. And what are our goals? Justice, liberty, equality and fraternity. We need to reach these goals or aspirations. These are our aspirations. Okay, so using the ideals as wings, we need to reach our goals or aspirations. What are our goals or aspirations? Justice, liberty, equality and fraternity. So our Constitution of India gives our preamble of our Constitution gives information about the source of authority. Who is the source of authority? It is the people of India. What are the ideals of our nation? They are sovereign socialist secular democratic republic. And what are our aspirations? They are justice, liberty, equality and fraternity. And when is this Constitution adopted? It says it was adopted on 26 November 1949. Okay, this is the information that we get. Okay, so we got the information about the date of adoption. Okay, even though the Constitution was adopted on 26 November 1949, the full enforcement was done on 26 January 1950. Some provisions were already enforced on 26 November 1949, but the majority part were enforced on 26 January 1950. Okay, so when they ask adopted and enacted, when was the Constitution adopted and enacted, your answer must be 26 November 1949. And when the question is when the Constitution was enforced, your answer must be 26 January 1950. Okay, why they specifically chose 26 January? Because on the same day in 1913 it was celebrated as Purna Swaraj. Okay, that is why they have chosen this day 26th. Okay, so we have already discussed that ideals are sovereign socialist secular democratic republic, and we have discussed that aspirations are this. So there was a UPSC question, what are the adjectives of republic in preamble? So the adjectives of republic are sovereign socialist secular democratic. Okay, adjectives are nothing which are placed in front of the noun or verb. So these are the adjectives of republic. Now let us see the history of preamble. Okay, American Constitution was the first to begin with the preamble. So the original idea of the preamble belongs to USA, that we should accept it. Okay, and coming to the history, the preamble of the Constitution, it was borrowed by objective resolution by Nehru. Okay, this objective resolution of Nehru, which is moved by Nehru in our Constituent Assembly, this was actually borrowed from UN Charter. Okay, we borrowed this from UN Charter, and this UN Charter again further it again borrowed it from USA Preamble. So I think this is clear. Preamble is borrowed from Objective Resolution moved by Nehru in Constituent Assembly, and Objective Resolution was borrowed from UN Charter, and UN Charter was borrowed from USA Preamble. So if the question says, does the preamble of the Constitution derive its origin from UN Charter? The answer is yes. And does it derive from USA Preamble? The answer is yes, because they are indirectly derived from UN Charter, USA Preamble, even though if they are directly derived from Objective Resolution. So is preamble a part of the constitution? It depends country to country. So India specific we shall discuss later. So utility and significance of the preamble. Simple, we have already discussed it. It tells about the source of authority. It tells our ideals and what are our aspirations. It also describes. It also says about the interpretation of the constitution. It gives an idea about the interpretation of constitution. Okay, source of authority, it's we the people of India. And what are our ideals, or nature, or principles, or values, or wings? What are they? They are sovereign, socialist, secular, democratic republic. So let us see, what is sovereign. Sovereign implies that India is neither a dependency nor a dominion of any other nation, but India is an independent state. So there is no authority above it, and and it is free to conduct its own affairs, both internal and external. So it basically says India is neither a dependency nor a dominion, but it is an independent state. Moreover, there is no authority above it, and it is free to conduct its both internal and external affairs. So if I say that India has sovereignty, it has two facets. One is internal sovereignty and external sovereignty. मतलब देश के अंदर, देश के बाहर. Okay, internal sovereignty is the supreme authority inside one's territory. Okay, external sovereignty, it says that there is no control of any external power. I mean, a sovereign state can acquire or set a foreign territory. Okay, I think you are clear with internal sovereignty and external sovereignty. And after independence, we have got internal and external sovereignty. After independence, which is on 15th August 1947, its legal basis as per Indian Independence Act 1947. Okay. So now coming to a main interesting question. This is a very interesting question. Does being part of United Nations reduce India's sovereignty? The answer is no. Why? Because India can withdraw from United Nations anytime. So currently India is part of United Nations. So if United Nations put any sanctions, they will be imposed on India. But if India withdraw from United Nations, those sanctions will not be imposed. So it is up to India's discretion whether to be part of United Nations or not. So being part of United Nations does not affect India's sovereignty. So now let us skip to socialist. So we have seen sovereign, now we are looking into socialist. So socialist, this term was added by 42nd Constitution Amendment Act 1976, and there are certain provisions of the constitution provisions in the constitution that talk about the socialist, which is resembled in the preamble. Okay, the socialism that, okay, usually whenever you need to find some examples, now look into directive principles of state policy. You will find, if you find any words related to socialism, write them. If a question comes, you can mention those articles in which are relevant for socialist in directive principles of state policy. For example, resource related. Resources are not concentrated within few, the article 39C. Article 39B, equal distribution of resources for public use, राइट टू एजुकेशन. तो ये सब चीज़ें आप लिख सकते हो सोशलिस्ट के अंदर, विच आर इन कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन. ओके, एंड व्हाट इज़ द टाइप ऑफ सोशलिज्म दैट इंडिया फॉलो? India follows democratic socialism. Okay, actually there are two types, there are many types of socialism. One is Marxism socialism, and there is Marxism socialism is also called communalist socialism. That is one. So in Marxism, what happens is that state controls everything, and state, there is no private property. Moreover, there is no private ownership, and the state takes control of all the economy. The state take controls of the economy and economic policies for, and it ensures that everyone are given equal resources. Okay, state controls private sector and it ensures that everyone is having equal resources. That is Marxism. Okay, that is Marxist socialism or communist socialism. Okay, and that is Marxist socialism or communist socialism. And the other type is Gandhian. So Gandhian socialism, it talks about welfare state. It says that government should implement welfare schemes, so that there is no poverty, hunger, etc. That is Gandhian socialism. So Indian socialism is a mix of both Marxian socialism and Gandhian socialism. Okay. So in democratic socialism, our aim is to eradicate poverty, disease, ignorance, and also provide equality of opportunities by securing economic justice. Okay, this is what, for example, the best example of democratic socialism is New Economic Policy 1991. It is during Manmohan Singh government, which was an era of liberalization, privatization, globalization. At the same time, even if he is towards growing the private sector and industrialization, he also focused on government schemes for eradicating poverty, and his focus is on, was also on health and education, rural development programs, social welfare schemes, etc. Okay, now I think you have understood what is democratic socialism. We have covered sovereign, and we have also covered democratic socialism, which is our Indian, followed by our Indian government. So now let us look into secularist. Okay. Okay, by the way, who Marxist and communist socialism is followed by whom? It is followed by USSR. And capitalism, the complete opposite of Marxian socialism is capitalism, which is followed by USA. Okay, which is followed by USA. So if you you already know that socialism was introduced in 1976. Then what are we before 1976? That is a good question. So due to Cold War between USSR and USA, Nehru chose a non-alignment movement. So we chose to neither join USA nor USSR. So we follow democratic socialism. Okay, balancing both capitalism and communalism. Okay. Now coming to secular. Okay, which state is said to be a secular state? Secular India is a secular state because it does not have any official religion. So secular state doesn't have any official religion, and the citizens of the secular state are free to practice their own religion without any fear of persecution. Persecution matlab fear of being fear of cruel treatment. So or fear of discrimination, all these come under persecution. Okay, so without the fear of persecution, citizens are free to practice their own religion in a secular state, and the secular state don't have any official religion. Okay, now let us see more into secularism. Okay, a secular state is one where religion is separated from politics. Do you think in India religion is separated from politics? The answer is no. Our government intervenes. So our Indian secularism is a lot different from Western secularism. Okay, we shall see this later. The term secularism was added along socialist by 42nd Constitutional Amendment Act 1976. You already know 42nd Constitutional Amendment Act 1976. It added three keywords: socialism, socialist, integrity, secularism. Okay, so the secularism was also added by socialism by 42nd Constitutional Amendment Act. Okay, so this the idea of secularism was also mentioned in the basic structural doctrine. Okay, and this was also supported by secularism. This was also supported by Supreme Court in SR Bommai case 1994, and Bal Patil versus Union of India case 2005. I think you don't need to remember this for now. Okay, if there is any word that can replace secularism, what can it be? It is Sarva Dharma Samabhava. Sarva, all, Dharma, religion, Samabhava means equality. Sarva Dharma Samabhava. This is nothing but secularism. And this word is this sentence. This is given by Gandhi. Sarva Dharma Samabhava. This word is given by Gandhi. But this was popularized by Atal Bihari Vajpayee. Okay, now let us see difference between Western secularism and Indian secularism. So Western secularism is a negative concept because there is a strict separation between religion and state. But Indian secularism is a positive secularism because state intervenes whenever it feels the need to protect a particular religion. Okay, so that is the difference. And there here in Western secularism there is a strict neutrality. Here you find a principled distance. The state only intervenes when when the interference is essential. When the interference is required, only then the state intervenes. Okay, it intervenes to protect certain minority communities. Okay, next. There is a strict wall of separation here, and there is a porous wall of separation. And no public policy is solely made on religion. But in India, public policy can be made solely based on religion. That is also possible. Example: triple talaq case, Sabarimala temple entry case. You know these. And see, now I think okay, when give suppose at the last point, let us see. Do you think judiciary? What do you think judiciary will consult religious boards in Western secularism to promote justice? The answer is no. There is a single unified code of law, and as per their laws and conventions, the justice will be delivered in Western secularism. But in Indian secularism, the court also consults religious boards for certain personal laws, to know their personal laws, and accordingly, before dispensing justice, it will consider the personal laws of different religious boards. Okay, so Western secularism and Indian secularism are far more different. Okay, here there is strict wall, and here there is porous wall. Okay, and the state do not intervene, and state intervenes. Okay, and justice, and the court consults religious boards, and the courts do not consult religious boards. Okay, so the same question: if the secularism was added in 1976, what are we before 1976? Yeah, before 1976 also there was secularism. Example, there is YOLO, there is Hokayat School of Principle, which talks about secularism. Okay, YOLO, you only live once. So yeah, now let us skip into democratic. You have finished your sovereign, socialist, secular. Now democratic. Democracy is refers to the government of the people, for the people, by the people. So it is also understood by the expression one person, okay, one person, one vote, and one value. Okay, this is also okay. So democracy, if they ask you for the definition, you can say of the democracy of okay, is the government. Democracy refers to the government of the people, government of the people, government for the people, and government by the people. Okay, government of the people, government for the people, government by the people. This represents democracy, and it is sometimes also given by the expression one person, one vote, and one value. I think it is clear till now. So there are different types of democracy, just like socialism. We in India follow representative democracies. Okay, so there are two types of democracies: direct democracy and indirect democracy. Indirect democracy is also called representative democracy, and currently India follows a representative democracy of the parliamentary system. Okay, so if I tell you that India is democratic, so what are the provisions in our constitution that shows that India is democratic? So what are the articles that promote social and economic democracy? Let us see. Social democracy, we can find it in our article 38, 39, 40, 41 in our directive principles of state policy. You can look them once, you can check them. And economic democracy, article 39A, 42, 43, 44, they talk about economic democracy. For example, uniform civil code for all citizens, it comes under economic democracy. Decent standard of living, equal opportunities. Okay, these all articles talk about economic democracy. So then still, what are the democracies are left? There is also political democracy. Let us see. Political democracies are given by fundamental rights. Okay. So political democracy. So which articles talk about for political democracy? In fundamental rights. These political democracies enshrined in fundamental rights. Okay. Rule. Okay. Two key aspects of them are there is rule of law and there is equality before law. Okay, what is rule of law and what is equality before law? Rule of law states that it ensures that everyone is subject to the law and no one is above the law. Okay, that is rule of the law. Everyone is subject to the law and no one is above the law. And what is equality before law? Equality before law, it states that the state shall not deny to any person the equality before law or equal protection of law within territory of India. What is you know the rule of law, everyone is subject to law, no one is above it. And in equality before law, this article 14 says that gives two terms, equality before law or equal protection of law. And what is equality before law? All individuals are equal before in the eyes of law without any discrimination. Okay, all individuals are equal before the law without any discrimination. That is equality before law. And what is equal protection of law? The state must ensure that all individuals have equal access to legal protection. Okay, equal access to legal protection, that is equal protection of law. So you have seen economic democracy, social democracy, economic democracy, political democracy. And what you need to see next, you can see democratic republic. So what is democratic republic? See, it is the same thing which ensures democracy by adopting universal suffrage and adult suffrage. Okay, democratic republic was best secured by adopting universal suffrage and adult suffrage. Universal suffrage मतलब सबको सब लोगों को वोट होना चाहिए, माइनॉरिटीज़ वोट होना चाहिए, वुमेन भी वोट करना चाहिए, ये सब चीज़ें इंश्योर करती है यूनिवर्सल सफरेज आर्टिकल 325. लेकिन एडल्ट सफरेज मतलब एबो 18 जो भी है वो सब लोग वोट करने का अधिकार होना चाहिए, ये सब. ओके, रिमेंबर दैट राइट टू वोट इज़ नॉट डिराइव्ड फ्रॉम दिस, बट ओके दे सीक फॉर राइट टू वोट, दे डोंट गिव राइट टू वोट. ओके, these articles, they seek for right to vote but they do not give right to vote. You need to remember this. Okay, these articles do not give right to vote, but they seek right to vote. Now we have finished. I think now we have finished. Now let us look into direct democracy and indirect democracy. What is direct democracy and what is indirect democracy? We already know that. Let us see again. See, direct democracy, here people directly decide on laws and policies. In indirect or representative democracies, people elect representatives, and these representatives, and these representatives they decide upon the laws and policies. Okay, this is a main difference between direct and representative democracy. So citizens make decisions, elected representatives make decisions. All citizens have the opportunity, only elected representatives have the opportunity. Decisions are quick here, decisions take longer time because there is a lot of process involved here. Okay, this is less complex and this is more complex, and but this direct democracy is very less efficient, and comparatively representative democracy is more efficient. And when it comes to transparency, yeah, direct democracy, it is more transparent, and representative democracy is less transparent. Example for a country which follows direct democracy is Switzerland, and example for a country which follows representative democracy is India, France, UK, etc. So in direct democracy, what happens is that there is a consensus. People upon consensus, they decided a policy, and this policy will be implemented. But whereas there is no such consensus, for a policy to be passed, the bill should be accepted by Lok Sabha, Rajya Sabha, then president, it will go for president's assent. So there is a lot of complex process involved here. I think now you are clear with direct democracy and indirect democracy. Let us see the last ideal. What is the last ideal? The republic. So what is republic? You say India's republic. What does this mean? It means that head of the state is not a monarch but an elected representative. That's it. Head of the state is not a monarch but an elected representative. Let us see all the articles once. Sorry, not all the articles. Let us see all the ideals: sovereign, socialist, secular, democratic, republic. So what kind of socialist are we? Democratic socialism. Yeah. What kind of democracy are we? We are representative democracy. Yeah, representative democracy. Now let us see the definition. What is the definition of sovereign? Sovereign, India is neither a dominion, India is neither dependent nor a dominion of any state. There is no authority above it, and it is free to conduct its own internal and external affairs. Free to conduct both its internal and external affairs. Okay, that is sovereign. So if I say India is democratic socialist, then what does that mean? India follows democratic socialism. It means that the state shall ensure to eradicate poverty, hunger, etc., and also ensure to secure economic opportunities and economic justice. Okay, so it is like a balance between capitalism and communalism. Okay, coming to what secularism. So if I ask you what is India is a secular state, what does that mean? It means that India has no official religion. India has no official religion, and citizens are free to practice their own religion without fear of any persecution. Okay, this is secularism. So when I ask you what is a representative democracy, what does that mean? It means see, first democracy, when I'll talk about democracy first. Democracy means government of the people, for the people, by the people, or it is also given by the expression one person, one vote, one value. So or this. Okay, when I ask you what is representative democracy, this means that the only the elected representatives decide on the policies. Elected representatives decide on the laws and policies. Okay, so what is republic? Republic is head of the state. Head of the state is not a monarch. That's all. Head of the state is not monarch. That is republic. So sovereign, democratic, sovereign, socialist, secular, democratic, republic. We have finished all. Now let us see the aspirations of nation. Aspirations of nation are nothing but the goals or our objectives. So what are our objectives? Our objectives are justice, liberty, equality, and fraternity. Okay, let us see 4 of them. You know what? The justice, this is inspired from Russian Revolution. The term justice, this is inspired from Russian Revolution, whereas the rest of the terms, Liberty, equality, and fraternity. These are inspired from French Revolution. Okay. So now let us see justice. Justice, it says three types: social justice, economic justice, political justice. So our preamble talks about three types of justice. What is social justice? It aims to provide equal opportunities and treatment regardless of their caste, gender, etc., caste, religion, gender, etc., providing equal opportunities and treatment to all individuals regardless of their caste, religion, gender, etc. That talks about social justice. Okay. And what about economic justice? Which articles talk about them? Economic justice, it talks about providing equal opportunities to enjoy benefits of economic growth. Okay, this is economic justice. And what is political justice? Political justice is it ensures that citizens have the right to participate in the political process and decision making. Okay, right to participate in the political process and decision making. So now you are clear with social justice, economic justice, political justice. So this is justice, socio-economic, political. And now let us see liberty of thought, expression, belief, faith, and worship. So liberty of thought expression, what does this promote? This objective promotes a diverse and tolerant society where individuals have the right to express their opinions, practice their religion, and follow their beliefs without any fear of persecution. Okay, so it promotes for diverse and tolerant society where individuals have the right to express their opinion, practice their religion, follow their beliefs. So this is liberty of thought expression, belief, faith, and worship. What is equality of status and opportunity? So the same, it talks about providing equal status and opportunity to all citizens regardless of their socio-economic and cultural background. Okay, you need to provide them equal status and opportunity. Okay, so if I talk about equal justice, equality of status and opportunity, where are the provisions? See, the our constitution has certain provisions for all, to ensure all of them. For example, economic justice, they are ensured by from article 39. Yeah, it provides economic justice. So if I say which articles provide talk about equality of status and opportunity, article 14. Okay, it talks about equality before law and equal protection of law. And universal suffrage, adult suffrage, they talk about political equality. And economic equality, they are given by directive principles of state policy. So yeah, that is how you need to write your answer in mains. Now coming to fraternity. Fraternity, assuring the dignity of individual and unity and integrity of the nation. So it is its objective is to create a sense of unity among the diverse population while maintaining the dignity of each individual. Okay, brotherhood बोलते हैं ना fraternity को. So it creates a sense of unity among the diverse population while maintaining the dignity of each individual. Okay. International aspect of fraternity is seen in Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam. You know, G20 का theme है Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam. Okay. This phrase integrity is very important because it was added in by 42nd Constitutional Amendment Act 1976. Okay. Socialist, integrity, secular. So there are certain provisions in our constitution which talk about fraternity. For example, article 51 AE, it talks about fraternity to promote harmony and spirit and common among brotherhood. Okay, see, when you read a directive principles of state policy, you will be more clear. And dignity of individual, this is given by DPSP. Article 39A, adequate means of livelihood. So the constitution provides provision for ensuring the key words that are mentioned in our preamble. Now let us see how the interpretation of the constitution is done. So let us see the interpretation of the constitution, how it is done. So how does the preamble help us in interpreting the constitution? The answer is yes. It helps in interpretance, but the preamble is not enforceable in the court of law. Let us see how. So the first question is preamble a part of constitution? My first question is preamble a part of constitution? I have second question. If it is a part of constitution, can it be amendable? And my third question, if it is a part of constitution, can it be enforced? So I will write you my three doubts. Is preamble a part of constitution? If it is a part of constitution, then is it amendable? Okay, that means it is part of constitution. Okay. Let us say if it is part of constitution, is it amendable? Okay, if it is part of constitution, is it enforceable in court of law? In court of law, the answer to this is yes, it is part of constitution, and yes, it is amendable. And the third, enforceable in court of law, the answer is no. So let us see how. So the inclusion of preamble as a part of Indian constitution has been a significant legal debate over years. Okay, and let us see the case studies. The first case study is A.K. Gopalan case 1950. Here the Supreme Court held that a preamble is not enforceable and not considered to be part of Indian constitution. यहाँ पे ये बोला गया कि preamble is not a part of constitution and it is not enforceable also. Okay, this is A.K. Gopalan case 1950. In 1960, Berubari Union case 1960, Supreme Court acknowledged that preamble part नहीं है, preamble enforce नहीं कर सकते हम, लेकिन it acknowledged that preamble can be helpful in understanding the ambiguous terms used in the constitution. However, it is not a part of constitution. So, Berubari Union case 1960, Supreme Court says that it is helpful in understanding the ambiguous terms used in constitution, but it is not a part of constitution. Okay, this is Berubari Union case 1960. Next, let us see Keshwananda Bharati case 1973. Okay, A.K. Gopalan case 1950, Berubari Union case 1960. Both of them said that preamble is not a part of constitution and they are not enforceable in court of law. So Keshwananda Bharati case 1973, here it says that preamble is an integral part of constitution, therefore it can be amended under article 368. However, if it can be amended under article 368, but you cannot amend its basic structure. सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने इसके बाद एक बेसिक स्ट्रक्चरल डॉक्ट्रिन दिया, कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन में जो जो चीज़ें नहीं अमेंड कर सकते हैं हम, वो सब चीज़ें सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने दिया, डॉक्ट्रिन ऑफ बेसिक स्ट्रक्चर. ओके, so that is why this Keshwananda Bharati case 1973 is a landmark judgment. Okay, it says that preamble is an integral part of constitution, therefore it can be amended under article 368. However, its basic structure cannot be altered. After this, there comes a LIC of India case 1995, and Supreme Court reaffirmed the same, that preamble is an integral part of constitution. So therefore our questions, is preamble a part of constitution? The answer is yes. Amendable yes. Enforceable in court of law? The answer is no. You cannot enforce a preamble. Preamble is used for understanding the ambiguous terms used in constitution. Okay, see the important notes I have written here. Preamble is non-justiciable, that means they are not enforceable in court of law. Therefore preamble neither gives power to the legislature nor it prohibits power to the legislature. लेजिस्लेचर के पावर का सोर्स प्रियम्बल नहीं है, ये प्रोहिबिट नहीं करती, ना सोर्स की तरह पावर्स नहीं देती है. ओके, amendability of the preamble, we have already discussed. Yes, you can amend the preamble under article under article 368 you can amend the preamble because it is a part of constitution. However, its basic structure cannot be altered as per Keshwananda Bharati case 1973. The same was reiterated in LIC of India case 1995, and so far preamble was amended only once, that is 42nd Constitutional Amendment Act 1976, which added 3 keywords: socialist, integrity and secular. Okay, what are the limitations of the preamble? So preamble is not the source of power, you already know. That means it is neither the source of power or nor a prohibition of power upon the legislature. Okay, so that means it cannot place any limitation on the exercise of powers of executive, legislative and judiciary. Okay, that is preamble is not the source of power. Okay, and preamble is non-justiciable. Mentally you cannot argue in a court by taking a keyword in preamble. No, preamble is non-justiciable. They are not enforceable in the court of law. And the third keyword is, okay, the third limitation is they have preamble has very limited application. So very limited application. So usually Supreme Court refers to preamble only when there is ambiguity in the provisions of constitution. Therefore preamble has very limited applications. Okay, preamble has no overriding powers. Okay, फॉर एग्ज़ाम्पल कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन में कुछ प्रोविजंस है, अगर उस प्रोविजंस के ऊपर प्रियम्बल का ओवर राइडिंग पावर्स नहीं है. ओके, प्रियम्बल के अकॉर्डिंग ऐसे है तो यहाँ पे ऐसे क्यों है. सो प्रियम्बल हैज़ नो सच ओवर राइडिंग पावर्स. So we have finished the topic. I hope you have enjoyed the session. Thank you very much. Shall we revise one more time? Let us revise everything. See, the text of the preamble. Uh, the text of the preamble gives information about four things: the people of India, or this is the source of authority, and it talks about our ideals. It talks about our aspirations. It also tells about the date of adoption, and yeah, it is also sometimes acts as interpretation of constitution in case of ambiguity, as discussed in Keshwananda Bharati case 1973. And one more thing you need to remember is that preamble is a part of constitution and it can be amendable. It is amendable, and but it is not enforceable in court of law. Okay, that's it. Thank you very much. Thank you. I hope you enjoyed the session.